Hello everybody, it's Crystal. Welcome to my channel. So today I have a stitch tutorial for you. As I always say it, but it's true. This is an easy one. This is just a 2-row repeat. It is the triangle stitch. I have a few things made out of my channel with this. It's a very pretty stitch. You just are going to have to know how to half double crochet and single crochet. You know how to do that? Well, I'll teach you the rest. So that's what it looks like. It's a semi-solid stitch, as you can see. I mean, it's more solid than not, but you still, like, see that? If you made a top with it, that would be up to your discretion if you wanted to wear something underneath it or not. Like, some angles that hit you can't see through. Some angles you can kind of see through. That's up to you. And the back looks the same. Triangles are just going in the opposite direction. Here we go. That's it. Super easy. You guys want to do it? Anything. Blankets, tops, scarves, whatever. Whatever you want to make. Let's do it, okay? Now, remember this is just a stitch tutorial to teach you how to crochet the triangle stitch. Here's the end row, so nice and straight. So what you make with it will be up to you. And whatever yarn and hook, that will be up to you. Depending on what you're making, so you can choose whatever you want. But for this tutorial, this I think is Premier anti-pilling, 100% acrylic, and a 4-weight. I don't know what color it is because there is no label, but that's all right. And then I'm going to be using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. All right, let's do it. So the triangle stitch is done in any even number of stitches for your beginning chain. So whatever you're making, you know, top, blanket, bag, whatever you want, anything you want, your beginning chain just needs to be an even number. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and start row 1. Row 1, we are going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from our hook. We never count this one that's on our hook. So this is number 1 and this is number 2, and we go into that second one and we do a single crochet, and then we're going to work across the chain, putting 1 single crochet into every chain space, and just like this. So row 1, 1 single in every stitch, and I will see you at the end of the row. Alrighty, I've made it to the end of row 1 of the triangle stitch, and now if you count your single crochets, you should have an odd number. You'll have 1 less than what you chained, and that's what you need to have. Alright, so we're going to start row 2. Rows 2 and 3 are the repeat rows for the triangle stitch. Alright, and row 2 is where we make the triangles. So here we go. We're going to start off by chaining 1 and turning our work. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And we're going to go right into the very first stitch and work a double crochet. All right, and then we're going to chain 1. Now we are going to go not back into the stitch, but the next stitch, and we're going to work a triangle. What we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and go in to the next stitch and draw up a loop. You got 3 loops on your hook now. We're going to yarn over again and go into the next stitch. Draw up a loop. Now you got 5 loops on your hook. And one more time, since it's a triangle, means 3 times, we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch. Draw up a loop. You got 7 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all of them but the last one. So we're going to yarn over and go through 6 of them like that, and that will leave you with 2. What we're going to do now is just yarn over and go through the remaining 2. That's the triangle, and then we're going to chain 1 after it. That's the triangle stitch. All right, now we're going to start the repeat of row 2, because now the triangles, after that first triangle, they are made the same way, but we have to start them now we're going to start them in the same stitch that we just ended this one in. Now the very first one, we don't do that. See, we don't go into that very first stitch. We just go into the next 3. But for the rest of them, we're going to start our triangle into the same stitch that our last one ended in. Okay? We're going to yarn over and go into that same stitch that the last one ended in and draw up a loop. 3 loops. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next empty stitch, draw up a loop, 5 loops. Yarn over and go into the next empty stitch, draw up a loop, 7 loops. We're going to yarn over and go through all of them but 1. And then you got 2 loops left. Yarn over and go through the remaining 2. And then you always chain 1 after your triangle. That's it. That's how we're going to do our triangles until we get to the end. Do you want to do it again? All right. We're going to yarn over. We're going to go back into the same stitch as the last triangle ended in. Draw up a loop, 3 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next empty stitch. Draw up a loop, 5 loops on our hook. One more time, we're going to yarn over and go into the next empty stitch. Draw up a loop, 7 loops. We're going to yarn over and go through all of them except for 1. And then you have 2 loops that remain. Yarn over and go through the remaining 2 and chain 1. And this is what we're going to repeat until we get near the end of the row. I'll go ahead and do it one more time. Yarn over and go into the same stitch as the last triangle. Draw up a loop. And we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch. Draw up a loop. And yarn over and go into the next stitch. Draw up a loop. 7 loops. Yarn over and go through all of them but 1, which will leave you 2. Yarn over and go through the remaining 2 and chain 1. All right. So we're going to keep doing that, making sure that you start each triangle in the same stitch that the last one ended in, and I'll meet up with you at the end of the row. All right, so I've come to the end of row 2, and I have 1 stitch left after I've done my last triangle. I'm going to make sure I chain 1 after my last triangle, and then I'm just going to end by putting a double crochet into the very last stitch. And that ends row 2 of the triangle stitch. And now we're going to go ahead and start row 3, which is the final repeat row. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And this is just a row of single crochet. So we're going to go right back into the very first stitch and single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet into the next chain space. So you just go right through this chain 1 space and single crochet. And then we're going to put a single crochet on top of the triangle. So right there, single crochet, and then single crochet in the chain space between the triangles. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way down. Single crochet on top of the triangle, and in the chain 1 space in between the triangle. Single crochet on top of the triangle, and single crochet in the chain space between the triangles. And we're going to do this until we get to the end of row 3. How easy is that? The easiest. And it's a really cool stitch. It's interesting. Alright, I'll see you at the end. Alright, I'm coming to the end of row 3, and I just did a single crochet on top of my last triangle. You want to make sure you single crochet into that chain 1 space at the end, and then the single crochet, the last one, goes into the top of the last double crochet. And that ends row 3, and that ends the repeat rows for the triangle stitch. So for row 4, we just chain 1 and turn, and we will repeat row 2, which is the triangle stitch. So we would put a double crochet into the very first stitch. Now always remember, when you do the triangle row, the very first one is not connected to the first stitch. Like the other ones are all connected with the previous stitch. See that? This one is not. All right. So we chain 1 after that double crochet, and we do not go back into the same stitch, but we just go directly into the next one and make our triangle. And remember, we are just repeating row 2. Chain 1 after the triangle, and now we start connecting them. The first part of the triangle goes into the last part, the last stitch of the last triangle right here, and then over the next stitch and the next stitch. Chain 1 and repeat, and that's it. You just keep repeating rows 2 and 3. When you make it to the end of this row, you just chain 1 a turn, and then you do your single crochet row. And as you can see, the pineapples, they stay on top of each other, nice and clean. And after a few rows, it looks like this. That's it. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. So if you did, I'd appreciate it if you could give me a like. If you enjoyed this, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crochet tutorials. You could check them out, maybe subscribe, so you don't miss out on any other tutorials that I do. I have pretty much anything that you could ever want to make. So I'll see you guys on my next video, whatever it may be. Yeah? Okay. Bye.